And I'm glad that somebody who wanted to make everything worse is finally seeing themselves out of the government right now.
This is
Uh,
this is I know I was not supportive of all these federal workers losing their jobs, but this is one federal employee losing their job that I can get behind.
yeah, you know what? Some government cuts need to happen, like Elon Musk, getting unceremoniously just booted from the
Hmm.
Trump administration. When I first saw this story come across the wire, I wasn't entirely surprised because we haven't really seen Elon Musk in the news that much recently. It seems like after that, basically after the Wisconsin election kind of fell through, and then we saw videos of him being trolled while he was playing video games, and Tesla stocks are falling all over the place. He just quietly kind of just went away. No one saw Elon Musk at all. It was almost like boycotts and and public outreach or outcries actually had an impact on him, which I found to be very inspiring. That we still do have some modicum of power here in society. But I want to give you a few more details here before we kind of get into the discussion. This is from Reuters, where they were saying that his departure was very quick and that he had no formal conversation with President Trump. This is according to sources with knowledge of the matter. This again from Reuters, adding that this decision was decided at a senior level, and while the precise circumstances weren't exactly clear as to why he was leaving, they did note that this was a day after he publicly criticized Trump's bill, to which apparently people were not very happy about this. Trump or Musk said that, quote, "I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decreases it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing."
Hmm.
Well, apparently, people in the White House were pretty upset about this. One person in particular said that Stephen Miller was particularly irked by the comments and apparently was forced to call Republican senators to reiterate Trump's support for the package. So the girls were fighting a little bit. And it seems that the day after, Musk makes these comments about Trump's bill, he's booted out completely. So yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this because like what Elon Musk has done over the last few months is just absolutely egregious. I mean, besides the fact that it's illegal, it's also just highly immoral and just absolutely disgusting on so many different levels. Before I get into any of that, what were your thoughts when you guys saw that Elon Musk kind of just got dumped by President Trump?
I had seen him not no longer public for a number of weeks, if not months, and that was really interesting.
Yeah,
And it was always something that was something we expected because both Trump and Musk command a media presence, and
yeah,
we knew that Trump does not like sharing the limelight, and so from the jump, everybody was
yeah,
just waiting for that to come to fruition, and it did. And
yeah.
a lot, like you were saying, a lot of the outcry and the protests that were happening, Musk does not have thick skin. We've
No, he does not.
we've seen what his skin looks like. It's not nice. So, not that I want to do an ad hominem attack, but I just had to get that one in a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was not ready for this. He does not have thick enough skin like Trump does. Trump has some really incredibly thick skin. It's so thick it's orange. But the Musk just couldn't handle it, and
yeah.
that's why we saw him go away. But he did do a lot of damage. He did so
Yes,
much.
he did. Yes, he
The
did.
what I think he wanted to cut a few $1 trillion, but
Yes, 2 trillion.
he only got to like 278 billion maybe or so or something like that. Not
Yeah, I think the number was about 150 billion.
150. Okay, so
Yeah,
a lot of damage. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of people who lost their jobs, their livelihoods. I mean, we've seen so many stories of people who were talking about how these federal jobs were their dream jobs, how they worked for years to get this job. There's people who worked as like an IT consultant at a national park who worked
yeah,
for years to get that job, and then within 2 or 3 months he lost it. And
yeah.
where do you go? There's not enough private orgs out there that are hiring. So I'm really concerned about all of these laid off federal workers and also all the people who are working at other organizations that lost federal funding. Like, where
Right,
are they? How are they doing? And what's next? So that's a lot of, that's some of the things that keep me up at night outside of
right,
poverty.
right. No, that's definitely a good question. I do see someone that left a comment here. Kathy, thank you for watching. Hope that if you didn't get a chance to see the end of this, the rest of it will be on the playback, here on Substack as well as on YouTube. And again, really quickly here, for those who aren't already, if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, to Solomon's newsletter, you can go ahead and click the top of the screen right now. You can go ahead and subscribe to both of our newsletters that way. If you're watching the playback on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel now. One of the things I wanted to say about the workforce, the number that, as far as federal workers who were cut, I think is, I saw this actually earlier in the same Reuters report, is 260,000 people have lost their jobs because of Elon Musk. And I kind of wanted just to run through a little bit what some of these things were. He was cutting people who were working on pediatric cancer research. He cut people who were dealing with funding for HIV and malaria treatment. He fired the top nuclear safety officials in the country, had to go and then run and beg these people to come back. Firing air traffic controllers all over the place. And then we had planes falling out of the sky. This is also somebody who gutted the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which their main purpose in existence is just to make sure that the American people aren't being scammed by big corporations. So he went and cut those people. Cutting Meals on Wheels, that's also obviously something that we needed to see happening. And that's also not even going to the most egregious things like illegally hacking into the US Treasury. And then again, cutting the staff at the Social Security office, which is now making it hard for people to access their Social Security benefits. Mm-hmm. And again, I think the very last thing I want to point out here, he also made sure he took the time to cut any agency that was either investigating his companies or was directly competing against his companies. So Elon Musk, for all of his, platitudes and nonsense that he spews, into the media, what he did here is absolutely just, egregious. Nothing here that is being cut is actually benefiting society. Think about the things that we were talking about as far as who he was going after and what he was cutting. This stuff is just beyond the pale as far as I'm concerned. I do not understand how Elon Musk is not being tried by someone for what he has done. I mean, nothing here should have been legal as far as I'm concerned. So, I mean, I think Elon Musk needs to be criminally prosecuted for what he did while, operating at Doge, with him and all of the early 20s college kids that he put in charge of these agencies who had taken up essentially living in some of these places and humiliating these federal workers, making them essentially come up and speak about why they're supposed to keep their jobs. It was completely humiliating for a lot of these people who were just doing some really good work at the federal government. And I'm not trying to say that nothing at the federal government level should be cut as far as that's concerned. But I think there's a difference between analyzing, critically what's happening within our federal government and trying to find pockets of maybe things that can be improved or moved around, and then just unilaterally slashing things all over the place just because you feel like it, but you're trying to make a splashy headline, which is what this really was at the end of the day.
Yeah, he did a lot of damage on his way out and a lot of protection for himself. That will be his legacy for many years to come. And I think, there will be entire courses just studying both his and Trump's lack of ethics in all the work that they've done. I was really, one of the other agencies that was cut was USAID, which was helping these hungry folks all over the world. And it also left the staff behind with no, exit strategy. So a lot of damage. A lot of damage was done. America's reputation just probably irreparably tarnished. And then also with regards to the court battles, what we'll be talking about in a bit about tariffs.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going on. It is absolutely chaotic out there. And then, and then even looking back at how all of these costs are going to be impacting the working class.
Yeah.
We're estimated to, it's life is supposed to cost about $5,000 more on average for every household.
Right.
I don't have $5,000. I tell you what I do have. I have a stack of medical bills that I have not yet opened because once I open them, I'm going to be officially broke. And I could just hold off a little bit while they're still closed. So this is the reality of America right now. And that's why the title of my Substack is A Paycheck Away. It talks about how so many of us are a paycheck away from poverty or homelessness. And really, even now, You could have a job and be homeless. And of course, we know that there's so many people, millions of people who have jobs and are in poverty already. But for the working class, for the middle class rather, we don't know. A lot of them don't know how good they have it or
Yeah.
how close they are to not having it good.
Yeah. So I think one of the last things we wanted to talk